What's up everybody, Sonar here, and this is the tournament breakdown for stop number 5 on the 2019 FLW Tour, Cherokee Lake.
149, right line, thank you.
So here we are, Cherokee Lake. This is an eastern Tennessee fishery. This is unlike any of the fisheries that we've experienced so far this year on the FLW Tour. It's deep, it's clear, it's extremely rocky, and that's kind of the biggest key. And the water was down. And the water was down about 12 to 13 feet, which meant that there really wasn't a whole lot of cover in the water, which means that the smallmouth bite was really the big key to this event. You look at a lot of the guys that were at the very top, including Andrew Upshaw. Shout out to Andrew for a great event. But you look at all those guys that were at the top, they were focusing on smallmouth. Occasionally they catch a largemouth, but they were focusing on different types of rock. And I knew that going into this event, the anglers that would figure out the right combination of rock and the right type of rock to focus on and then find the techniques to target those fish was going to be key. And when it comes to this time of year, it's all about those spawning bass, whether it's smallmouth, largemouth, and spots. They were all spawning at the same time, but the smallmouth were the more consistent size. There was a lot more of them, and if you were watching the live coverage on FLW, you saw that most of the guys that did well were at that main lake area down by the dam or mid-lake as well. They figured out that kind of Martian rock. Jason Meninger, called it Martian rock. It was that big chunk rock, very smooth, kind of weird looking, and they were really targeting those spawning smallmouth, pitching Ned rigs, shaky heads, and also wacky rigs. And I kind of missed that bite. During practice, I really struggled to kind of keep my head in the smallmouth game and figure out what the smallmouth were doing, and it really did bite me by the end of this event. I was able to kind of figure it out as the event went on, but during practice, I totally missed it. I focused on the same things that guys always focus on the lake, pea gravel points, the smaller chunk rock. Those are the type of things that I was really focusing on, but I totally missed that Martian rock bite, the big boulders, and that seemed to be the key for this event. And so even though I wasn't able to find any consistent smallmouth bite during practice, during the tournament, I started out with a plan of using a jerkbait for smallmouth, because I got a little bit of a bite going during practice doing that. So fishing a jerkbait really fast in those spawning areas, and then going into the backs of these pockets for largemouth with a wacky rig, a stick bait, and just kind of casting that around little isolated pieces of cover where those fish were likely to spawn. And I was able to consistently catch fish doing that, but I wasn't sure how long it would hold up. And so after a little bit of running that pattern, running the jerkbait pattern on the outsides of these pockets for smallmouth, and then also running the backs of the pockets for the largemouth, I was able to pick up some fish early on, and I made a big bad decision by trying to boat flip a 3.5, 3 3/4 pound largemouth on a light tackle. Terrible idea, and lost that fish early on, which kind of messed up the momentum for the day. I was a little bit thrown off my game after that, but was able to reset. And by around 11 o'clock, I decided to just completely abandon the jerkbait and focus on and by 11 o'clock, I decided to completely abandon the jerkbait and triple down on the wacky rig. Just using the spinning gear and the backs of these pockets, and focusing on the largemouth. That's where I feel comfortable. That's where I felt like I could compete against these guys, and so that's what I did. And it didn't take until about 11:30 before I started getting some really, really good momentum. Started catching some better quality largemouth. Figured out like the type of pockets that they were really focused on, and was able to run with that. And then in the afternoon, it really started picking up. I was able to figure out that on these bluff walls, the pockets on those bluff walls, any pocket would have a bunch of largemouth and smallmouth spawning in those pockets as long as it had big chunk rock in it. So started running that pattern late in the day and was able to call up big time in the last hour or so, and ended the first day with 15.5 pounds. That really you know, put me high up there, but not real high. Everybody was crushing them that day. I think I was in the mid-20s with that 15.5 pound bag, which really surprised me. But that's okay. It was a good start to the tournament. Now day 2 started real fast. You know, I caught a good solid 3-pounder the first you know, a few minutes, and then I backed that up with another keeper, but then it slowed down. It slowed down for several hours, and really it took me until I think 10:30 to catch my limit, even though I was fishing some really good looking areas. But the size wasn't there. The size was not consistently quality like it was the day before. So I ended up running some new water, focused on some more smallmouth water, and also tried to find some more largemouth water, and really just covered a lot of water until you know, I kind of eliminated the upper portion of the lake. It seemed as I went up the lake towards you know, towards the river portion of the lake, I was starting to get less bites. There was less fish in spawning type habitat. They were probably more in a post-spawn pattern. So then I did a 180, went back down towards the dam and started focusing on those little pockets there, and started running through some of the areas that I had run through in the beginning of day 1, where I really hadn't keyed in on what they were focused on as far as these spawners in the back of these pockets. So went right through those areas and retreaded through some spots, and ended up catching a 2.5 pounder in the last 10 minutes to really call up to a bag that was enough for a check, and also enough to really keep me in good point standing. So I came in with 12 pounds, 12 ounces. Overall, it was, you know, I was happy with the bag, even though I knew it was going to be light and I dropped down quite a bit, but I knew that it would keep me in that check range, and I knew that I had done my best to hold on to the points. And at the end of the day, I was really happy to find out that some of the other points leaders had stumbled a little bit, and now I'm leading Angler of the Year. I'm #1 in Angler of the Year with 2 events to go, and so it was just really good to not only survive Cherokee, but also, you know, get a good solid check, and also move up into the lead in Angler of the Year. So really excited about the challenges ahead. I've got some great talented anglers behind me, some veterans that have won Angler of the Year before, and so it's motivating me to do really well in the next couple events, and to really just work hard. And so that's what I'm gonna do. It was just a fun event, and so thank you guys for all the support. It's been awesome getting all the texts, messages, phone calls, and so, you know, we're gonna keep it rolling. We're gonna keep it going on to the next event here at my home lake, Lake Chickamauga, and then of course Lake Champlain, which is gonna be also a lot of fun. So thank you guys for watching. Subscribe, follow my Facebook and Instagram, and I'm gonna see you guys out in the water. Alright everybody, so since I only use 1 rod and 1 tactic for all the weigh-in fish that I caught at Cherokee Lake, this is going to be a really easy tackle breakdown brought to you by KUZ Coffee. And essentially what I was doing, like I said before, wacky rigging, throwing a weightless wacky rig setup. I was using a 5-inch baby bass colored stick bait, and I was using a Hayabusa 962 power wacky worm hook. This is an awesome hook for wacky rigging. This is my absolute favorite nowadays for wacky rigging. It's got a wide gap design. It's extremely sharp, but it's also very strong. So just the perfect hook for fishing the wacky rig, especially a thick bodied stick bait. And I fished that on either 8 or 10 pound test Vicious Pro Elite fluorocarbon as my leader. I had about a 25-foot fluorocarbon leader on there, and then 20 pound test braided mainline Vicious Braid is my main line, and so, you know, I had plenty of power, but it was also finessey enough to get a lot of bites, but powerful enough to pull those fish and lead them away from cover and those sharp rocks, and so the line was very, very key. And then as far as the rod that I used, talking about leading fish away from cover and having plenty of backbone but still being very finessey, this is a really good rod for fishing a wacky rig around cover. This is a 7.2 medium heavy Versa series from Fitzgerald Rods. Got plenty of backbone, but it has a very soft tip, so you can make a nice precise cast. You're not going to overpower this tactic or overpower the hook. But you've got plenty of backbone to be able to lead those fish away from the cover. So it's really is the best of both worlds. Now, as far as the reel I was using a Fitzgerald Fishing Stunner spinning reel. Got a really smooth drag, just an overall solid reel. Love this spinning reel, and it worked flawlessly even when I was faced with those really fired up smallmouth that Cherokee had. You know, they were really hard to manage, but the reel, the rod, the line, and the hook did the trick. So if you're looking for a great wacky rig setup, give this a shot. I'll see you guys out in the water.